Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 5 Drinks for Midnight. You know the show where we bring the questions, guests bring the drinks. We try to wrap up before midnight. Today, we're out in front of Travel Bar, downtown Brooklyn. We're about to go talk to Mike, the owner. But before we do, like and subscribe, really help us out. Let's get started. Thanks for joining us. 5 Drinks for Midnight. 5 drinks, 5 questions. We're here at Travel Bar, talking to Mike, the owner. Hello, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you
for having us, more importantly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thanks for coming over.
My pleasure. Again, love this place. First things first, I guess, what are we drinking?
Right now we're going to drink a KCBC, Kings County Brewery Collective. This is their Zocktoberfest. It's a Marzen lager.
Cheers.
Perfect for the season.
All right. Well, I think we should just jump right into it. Question 1.
Okay.
How does a guy from the fine dining world end up owning one of the coolest, best whiskey bars in Brooklyn?
Well, thank you, first of all. But I started bartending in 1988, and I moved to New York in 2002 to work in the best restaurants. That's what brought me to New York City. And I started at Gotham Bar and Grill, and I worked there for a couple of years. And when I started at Gotham in 2002, there was no cocktail list. Crazy, right? You know, so it's just like, what? And then from there, I bounced around a little bit. I did Aquavit, I did BLT Steak. I eventually landed at Masa in the Time Warner, and I was the head bartender there for 3.5 years, and developed all the cocktails, and had a great time with it. And that's really when I started to do more focus on cocktails. I dabbled a little bit before, but really that was when it was really kind of cocktails for me, where I created my own lists and that kind of things. And we had amazing whiskey there. You know, we could buy anything. It was Masa. So that was really fun to be able to have just a free hand. And so 2004 to 2008, I had my hands on really nice whiskey from around the world, and that was fun. And then I worked at a place on Stone Street called Ventry, and it was 250 whiskeys. They only served wine and whiskey, and I did that after my kids were born. So that was the first 4 a.m. job I'd ever had, and then frankly I was making the same amount of money as I was paying my nanny, and I thought, well, this isn't why I had kids. So I was a stay-at-home dad for 3.5 years, and when the kids went to pre-K, I opened the bar.
Okay. So. Is it true that when you first opened Travel Bar, you were going to make it like 50% cocktails, 50%?
Yeah, the original
whiskey?
idea. Yeah, we had 12 wines by the glass when I opened. I have a wine background. Used to be an assistant somm for a very large wine list in Portland, Oregon. Originally it wasn't going to be just a whiskey focus. I've always liked whiskey, and I actually came to whiskey through Scotch. So the idea was always to have a very nice whiskey selection, but then as the bar grew and we built more shelves, I kept filling up with more whiskey. So
excellent. So I guess that was like kind of the turning point, is just more, you got more and more in love into the whiskey, and that's because, again, you have 480 whiskeys?
480 whiskeys currently, yeah. That's right. All available.
Fucking amazing. Like, that is just insane.
I always say it's not the number, it's the curation. You know, it's like you know, there's a lot of things I don't sell and a lot of things that I dive deep into. Brands that are kind of unknown, like I sell 9 different Deanstons. I love Deanstons, and I love turning people on to Deanstons. I get great joy when somebody comes in off the street and says, "What new Deanston do you have?" That's a really fun thing for a whiskey bar owner to hear. So, you know, and of course bourbon is big right now. So we have 177 bourbons currently. So. And world whiskey is really big right now. You know, we're the first bar in New York City to sell Stauning. Their Smoke, their Chaos, and their Rye.
When we first met.
Exactly, that's right, yeah. So power to that. Yeah, and world whiskey's big for us. We sell 5 different milk and honeys, which is from Israel. We sell the Bember releases, which is London single malt, their first 3 U.S. release exclusives. So it's just fun. It's just fun to, it's always fun to learn about new things and then fall in love with it and then turn around and just be able to share it with people. Like I have an enthusiastic responsibility to like turn people on to new things.
Well, and that too, like I guess that's the big thing too, because I mean, falling in love with this place, again, we met briefly, like again, I still kick myself on how I don't know that this bar has not existed, because you're 6 years, 7 years?
It'll be 7 years in November.
Yeah, and like I live around the corner and I still can't believe that, but I guess the follow-up is, again, you're a high-end whiskey bar that masks itself as a neighborhood bar.
I'd say we're a neighborhood bar with nice whiskey.
Okay.
Selection. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there you go.
Right.
Well, that's, because yeah, I mean, again, I think the hospitality here is absolutely fucking amazing. Like you are everything that if I ever wanted to be a bartender, what I'd want to be as a bartender. Because
Very, very kind.
no, it's totally true. I mean, you were like, "Have you tried this? Have you tried this? Let's try some of this." And
that's a childlike enthusiasm.
Yeah, no,
But once I find someone who's into whiskey, you know, I want to learn from them and I want to tell them what I know. And you know, as far as when I say what I know, what you should drink.
Yes.
You know, that's what I mean by that. So yeah.
Well, and again, Dan also said like you're the one that like got him into Rise and like was really kind of expanding his palate. So
Right.
and again, I mean that first night that we drank here, boy, you wrecked me. But also like we had some really fucking amazing booze, and it wasn't even like it was not even stuff that was on the shelf. It was even like the weird stuff, so which was amazing. So like again, cheers to you, sir.
Yeah,
I
cheers
mean,
to you.
again,
Cheers.
happy anniversary. It's coming up.
It's coming up. We'll be having a big party, which we always do.
But that is, hey, kudos. I mean, I think that surviving COVID and everything, and still be standing and then still celebrating now the
Yeah.
8 years.
We did not celebrate last year. Didn't seem like a
It-
time to
it-
celebrate.
yes.
But
But this year,
this year we're going to celebrate. Yeah,
Close
absolutely.
down.
So, you know, and with the COVID, we'll probably celebrate over 2 evenings, and it'll be RSVP kind of thing, just so the crowd's not packed in.
awesome.
But yeah, I'll keep you updated.
Excellent. Well, that's question 1. Band-Aids ripped off. We're ready to go. Train's leaving the station.
All right, awesome.
On to question 2.
I can shake this one super hard to get ice crystals.
All right. On to question 2. What are we drinking?
This is a cocktail I invented called Feeling Single, Seeing Double, which coincidentally is a George Jones song.
I was feeling single and seeing double and wound up in a whole lot of trouble today.
Okay. Excellent.
Neither here nor there, but it's important you know that. This is Stellan bourbon that I put 4 bottles of Stellan with a pound of dried cherries and let that rest for 2 weeks in the basement. Pull it up, I get 3.5 bottles back. Cherries soak up a whole half bottle. So then I take the cherries, put them in an ice cube mold with an Italian cherry liqueur, a little bit of water, freeze that, and that becomes the garnish in the cocktail.
All right.
You break that up with your little stir stick there. And cheers.
Cheers. Oh, that's looking good. Oh, that's real good.
I like this one.
All right. Well, then on to question 2. So, how have you seen not only the Brooklyn community change around whiskey, but also just the Brooklyn community change
Right.
in like the past 7.5, 8 years that you've been fully involved as an owner of an establishment? I mean,
Right.
I know that like, but like, how have you like more looking into like changing of the community, but also changing of the community kind of thing?
Well, you know, it's interesting because, like I said earlier, we are a local bar. So I take pride in my prices here. I consider my prices to be incredibly fair on our whiskey. And a lot of the reason I do that is that a lot of my locals have raised up their whiskey knowledge with my bar getting bigger and bigger on the whiskey front. So, you know, the cherry pickers come in, of course, that's fine. The locals coming in and getting a great value on world-class whiskey is perfect. And also I want people to come out from Manhattan. I have several regulars that live in Manhattan. They'll take the train out, drink here, and Uber home and save money on the night. So that's all good too. So it's the way we're built. So the neighborhood has changed. It's a constant turnover, especially during COVID. There was a lot of new couples moving in. It's usually couples. And a lot of people move away, and it's hard when regulars move away. And they give you that speech that they'll come back. They don't, you know. You're moving to Jersey City. You're not coming to Tail Gardens. Yeah, we're not coming here to drink, you know. But I actually stay in contact with a fair amount of regulars who did move away, but that doesn't mean they come in. But no, it's you know, it's always killing with kindness here. I mean, every new customer that walks in the door, I want you to become a regular. So that's always, everyone who works here is fine dining experience. We're all very courteous. We want to know how your drink is. We want to have a conversation with you, and we also want you talking to other people at the bar. So it's a local bar atmosphere. And as far as the neighborhood changing, I mean, it's a, you know, I would say 7 years ago there was a lot more older families that lived here, where your parents grew up here and you lived here, and then, you know, they sell that and then they move on, and then it's certainly younger families moving in, a lot more strollers in the neighborhood than there were 7 years ago, that's for sure. So.
Because the couple, when we were here last Tuesday, the couple that sat next to me, they lived on 27th Street, and they considered this still their local bar.
Yeah.
And then I also read that your proudest moment was when people's leases ran up, that
Yes.
they were excited that they were going to move closer to.
Right, exactly.
Do you feel that like Travel Bar is not only just an establishment, but also maybe a lifestyle or a special like?
It is definitely, during the pandemic when we were limited to only, we never shut down, but at one point we were down to three-hour time periods a week for people to come in and pick up their batch cocktails, which I have to give a shout out to all my regulars, because we survived the pandemic because we did batch cocktails and barrel-aged cocktails. And so people would make their time slots based on every week, the same Wednesday from noon to 3, there would be the same people every week. And then they got to know each other, you know? So it was this, people miss banter just as much as they miss drinking. So there's definitely a strong community here. And, you know, like I said, we always encourage people to talk to each other. You know, we ask a lot of bar questions, and that gets everyone talking. Bar questions are great because everyone's got an opinion about it, and then when I'm busy, I can walk away and there's still the banter. So that's perfect for everyone involved. So no one feels lonely at the bar, and people can hang out and talk to each other.
Not only are you like someone's therapist, barman, doctor, real estate agent, like advice giver, like you are kind of that kind of hub of the community, and with your regulars kind of coming in. Do you feel that way? Or
I gotta tell you, I'm no angel. Like if I know you're on a first date and you sit in front of the well, I say to the first person who arrives, you can't sit there. You just can't. I don't want to hear your conversation all night. I don't want to hear, do you like music? No, I'm not that. I'm no angel, you know? Like, yeah, there's limits to everything. So, but yeah, I like being part of the community. I live in the neighborhood, so when I walk to work, you know, I get stopped a lot. Are you heading to the bar? Yeah, come on down, you know? So it's definitely camaraderie of the whole neighborhood. For sure.
And then, I mean, again, the collection is massive, and what happens with more? Like, if you get more bottles,
I've already got more coming, so I don't know.
Do you take down the photos over there and like start building a wall out there?
I think I could get another level up. I mean, I'd have to stand on a ladder, but you know, it's interesting. I built more shelves in the little cutout area, and originally that was to spread the bottles out, but then I just filled them. So it is a problem. There's no doubt about it. And you know, this is whiskey season. This is when you'll buy a lot of whiskey in the fall, and then it's only available right now. So, you know, you cut out some things that you run out of that are available year round. You know, I have to make those hard decisions every month, but there's always room. You know, as you know, I have a lot under the bar too.
Yes, very much. Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, that's question 2. So, super easy.
We're flying through.
So, question 3, drink 3.
Yeah.
What are we drinking?
I was nervous, but this is going great.
Yeah, I know.
Until I see it later, and then I'm like, oh, this is bad.
No, it's going great. Like, this is amazing. So,
what we're drinking right now is my friend Mike Hines. I met Mike because he came into this bar about 4 or 5 years ago and just came in. And you know, you get a lot of people who come in who see the sign outside that says over 400 whiskeys, and they go, oh yeah, right. And they come in, and as they're saying, oh yeah, right, they're looking at the wall and go, holy shit.
Yeah.
So Mike was one of those guys, and we've been fast friends ever since. And so Mike was part of the Fuck Cancer series, which is ongoing, and it's a charity event where they bottle bottles, nicer bottles, and all the money goes to charity.
Oh,
so,
nice.
So after, that's how I met. I mean, I met Mike when he was doing that, and now since then he started Nashville Barrel Company with James and Corey. And Nashville Barrel Company, this one is their national release. This is a blend of 4- and 8-year-old rye from MGP. And I like it a lot. It's 100 proof.
Excellent.
And it's delightful. I do sell some of his single barrels as well. And he is definitely somebody who has built up a cult status as far as single barrels and the wax and the stickers and all of that game. But his national release is great.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's good whiskey.
That is. That is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh. All right.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna own a whiskey bar, you have to have a feeling about source whiskey. I love source whiskey. I got no problem, literally none. As long as you're honest about it, no problem whatsoever. You know.
Say, like, yeah, I could give really.
Right, exactly. Whether I mean, you know, I think most people just think it's source whiskey or not source. There's also contract distilling. You know, there's a lot of ways to go about getting your whiskey when you don't produce it yourself. And as long as you're honest about everything, I have no problem with what you're doing, you know?
All right, so then on to question 3. We kind of touched about it a little bit in question 2. I mean, you got a lot of space filled with booze here. If you were going to open up a sister bar, where would it be and why?
If I was to open a sister bar, it wouldn't be a bar, it would be a liquor shop.
Okay.
Because the grass is always greener, right? So I see what's available to shop owners. First of all, as a bar owner in Brooklyn, I consider it part of my job to be friends with every liquor shop owner within a 1-mile radius. I'm friends with the buyer and the manager and the owner by first name basis. And not to be a dick, but if I want to talk shop with anybody in the neighborhood, I'm not going to another bar. I'm going to a liquor shop. And so I do. I stop in. That's my socialization. Is I kind of go to the shops in the neighborhood, see what they've heard, what's coming in, see what they've tasted, what's coming in. So yeah, I think a lot about opening a shop, basically. And I also say that in the 7 years I've been here, many bars have come and gone in a 1-mile radius. Not a single shop is closed in those 7 years. So, you know, and shops range from just a guy sitting at the counter and you doing your own shopping to a tasting room in the back and everything in between. Yeah, and I've actually taught whiskey classes and cocktail classes at several of the different shops in the neighborhood. Side note, shout out to Corey down in Red Hook who gave me my chairs from the Wet Whistle shop. That's where my chairs came from my outdoor seating because he couldn't do in-store tastings anymore. So, yeah, I mean, I think the bar business is a really tough business. I love my bar. My wife says to me that if you won the lottery, I think you'd still do what you do, Mike. And that's probably true. But I think from a business standpoint, I would like to own a shop as well.
Okay.
And I do have friends who own shops and bars, and it's just a interesting component to the business. So.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
cheers, and I can't wait to this grand
Cheers.
opening of the shop. So,
Yeah, we'll see.
would it be in the neighborhood, or would it be?
Well, I mean, this might be, I certainly have to do more research on it, but I've found that like there's 5 blocks that people are willing to walk, right? So there's a liquor shop in this neighborhood about every 5 blocks. And then there are really stellar shops about every half mile to a mile. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, really, it would be basically going to a neighborhood that needs a liquor shop.
Gotcha.
So, and I'd want to be hands-on, just like I'm hands-on here. So I can't be 2 places at once. So I would love for it to be next door. Sure. But I don't think that's going to happen. Everyone has their model, everyone has their expertise, you know, and, you know, yeah. and again, being friends with all the shop owners in the neighborhood, you know, they each have their own clientele. You can be 6 blocks from each other and you have a completely different clientele. So, yeah. And I don't think far and few between liquor shops are destinations, especially in Brooklyn, you know. So, yeah, we'll see.
All right.
But that's my next bar is a liquor shop.
Excellent. Oh, I think that's amazing. I mean, that way
Look,
too.
you finished that.
I fucking enjoyed that. That was really fucking good.
I feel like a slacker now.
No, that was just so fucking good. That was amazing. I'm gonna be adding that to the list. That is.
Nothing happened.
All right.
All right.
On to question 4. Drink
All right.
4. We are flying through.
Yeah.
Not even close to midnight yet. What's our 4th drink?
Our 4th drink is Single Cask Nation.
Okay.
Single Cask Nation, I have been selling them since almost the day we opened. I'm a big fan. Single Cask Nation is, they go to Scotland, they blind taste barrels. If they like them, they say we like this. If they can afford to buy it, they buy it and they bottle it. That's it. Pretty simple. But what they have access to and what they're bringing back is amazing. We're going to have right now the Ben Nevis. This is a Ben Nevis 8-year-old. There are 633 bottles of this in existence, and I've opened 9 of them at the bar.
Wow,
I'm a gigantic fan of this. And I sell it for $12 an ounce. And it is, it's about 100 and, well, I'm guessing about 129 proof. So I put some little tap water on the bar for us if you want to. I always recommend people taste things as it comes out of the bottle, but you can proof it down with water however you feel comfortable drinking it.
Cool.
So cheers. Single Cask Nation, Ben Nevis 8-year-old. I always say, you've not met my mother, but this is her spice cake.
Okay.
So,
I was gonna say this is very. Yeah, this is very spicy. Ooh. Okay.
yeah.
Because you get that spice cake or that Christmas cake right off the bat.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the kick into that proof just
Yeah.
really.
And if you add a little water, it really becomes figgy, which is super fantastic for me. So. Chocolate fudge, it's so good.
Oh, okay. That totally changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna let that rest for a minute, but question 4.
Question 4.
You recently went out and did a barrel pick at Buffalo Trace, correct?
That's correct. I actually went down to Buffalo Trace. Within the whiskey, my whiskey capacity was the first time I'd ever been to distilleries in Kentucky. I've been to Kentucky before, but it was an amazing experience. And people kept asking me, what whiskey did you have? How was the whiskey? But really, it was about the people. I had an amazing time. I mean, just like balls out, good time. First night I landed, I did what a whiskey bar owner does. I went out and tasted all the low end whiskey that's not available here. Your JTS Browns, your Very Old Barton 100 proof, your Old Fitz in the handle, and unfortunately in Kentucky they do not do 1 ounce, 2 ounce. So that first night was it was that. And then next day we did Willet. Had lunch at Willet. And I'm the only person in the world who went to Willet and didn't drink. I did have some lovely coffee. Actually, Drew was very nice to us. Drew sat down and had lunch with us, and then took us on a private tour of the entire distillery. We toured through the empty rick house that's just being built, and then toured through, obviously warehouses that were full. And got a full tour, and that was amazing. And then I left there, and then I went to Barton, and Danny Kahn sat in on my barrel tasting, which was amazing.
That's awesome.
And I don't get giddy very often, but he and I had the same tasting notes on the whiskey, which was pretty cool.
There you go. There you go. Means you're doing something right,
exactly,
right?
Yeah, no, I was like, oh yeah, that's good. Take note of that. So we chose a barrel. We chose a barrel of 1792 full proof, which was an amazing experience. And then as I was leaving the warehouse, I hit my head so hard. I just walked right into one of those, boom, oh, it hurt so bad. That's why I had a headache that night. Remember that.
Sure, that's it.
And then, that was great. And then we went to Bardstown Bourbon Company and did a tour there, and it was amazing. And then we went out. The next day was Buffalo Trace. I did a barrel pick of Eagle Rare, and a barrel pick of Buffalo Trace, and a barrel pick of Sazerac 6 rye. And I have to tell you, it was much harder. When they roll out the four barrels of 1792, they were all cast strength, and they were so technical that they said, take a cap full of water and douse them between the four glasses. That's going to get you about 125. So, and then when we got to Buffalo Trace, it was all very technical. They had already lowered everything to 90 proof, which is what they're going to bottle all of them at. And it was harder to pick a barrel. There was definitely an outlier on every one of them. There was an outlier, and that's what I chose. But it was interesting. But one of the highlights of the entire trip was being able to drink Eagle Rare and Buffalo Trace right from the barrel. That was amazing. Like, why don't you bottle this? And so that was cool. And then we left that distillery, went and had lunch, and then we immediately drove to Louisville. I'd never been to Louisville. And I went to Peerless, which was fantastic. It was so cool to see a small distillery right after seeing these behemoth, gigantic operations. To see a distillery that uses a forklift to use the grain, to lift the grain into the mill, you know. That was a lot of fun, and I got to drill into a barrel.
Nice.
And John Waddle said to me, "I'm sure you do this all the time." I said, "Nope, first one ever." So that was cool. I got to taste right from the barrel. And then we did Fort Nelson, the Mictors at Fort Nelson, which was, they have 3 little open fermenters there, and they do 1 barrel a day there. They make 1 barrel of whiskey a day in this little gift shop / distillery operation. And then we were taken upstairs to the bar, and my friend Matthew Hunter recently started at Mictors a few months ago, and he went down and worked on the cocktails. So I got to taste some of his creations at the bar, which was super cool. And then, it was great. It was a great trip. Next day I flew out. Southwest was kind enough to delay my trip by 2 hours.
Very nice of them.
So we went to Copper and Kings, and Brandon gave us a complete tour, and that was fantastic. And then we went up to his bar, and I tasted, I'm not exaggerating, 12 different spirits, because I love what they do. They have great gins, they have great brandies, they have great finishes. They make Amaro, they make bitters. I wish that New York City imported more of their stuff, but we don't. But it was so much fun talking to him and talking about the process that he goes through to make all these things. And that's really what the trip to Kentucky was so special, because you got to meet the makers. You got to ask such detailed questions, and you almost wish you could record the whole thing, because it was just a casual conversation where Drew's telling me the 6 mash bills. Like, oh, I'm never going to remember this, But it was great, and I will be going back. There's no doubt about it. It was fantastic.
So then, again, I just got the barrel pick bug myself, thanks to the fellows at TSR. Is there like an ethos that you're looking for when you go barrel picking, that like this is definitely a travel bar? This is something we would have at travel bar?
Well, I mentioned it earlier. I like the outlier because, as you know, they've taken away the ability to sell to go.
Yeah.
So a lot of my barrel picks will be, of course, all of them will be served by the ounce, but a lot of them will go into cocktails. So I really need the stronger flavor to stand up to a cocktail.
Gotcha.
That's really what I was looking for this run of private barrel picks.
Awesome. And then when will your barrel picks be available here?
According to Empire / everyone, it should be late winter, early spring.
Okay.
So
awesome.
obviously hoping it would be Christmas time, but that's not going to happen. No big deal. They'll be here.
Well, you ain't going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere, hopefully. So yeah.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's question 4. So
Awesome.
flying through. All right. Question 5. Last drink of the night. Last question of the night.
I made it.
5 drinks down. Yeah, you totally made it. Roller coaster's coming to an end. Not even close to midnight yet. So I guess first of all, what are we drinking?
We're gonna drink Weller 12.
Excellent.
Weller 12 is a bottle that we sell for a mere $9 an ounce here at Travel Bar, and it's 90 proof. And actually, it's a whiskey that I enjoy, but I don't drink very often because, as my friend Jack says, I'm a proof whore, and I don't normally drink 90 proof whiskey. But true story, I took this to the beach because I was alone. I took my children to the beach. It was just me. I was the only adult. And I thought, well, I'll bring this bottle because it's 90 proof. I can function and drink this. And I was like, this is really good. So it took a beach trip for me to
find your love again.
Yeah, find my love again with Weller 12. But it is a lovely whiskey. So
Cheers.
Cheers.
People freak out about your prices?
People do.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes people say, why? Why? I would pay more. It's like, well, just come back and drink more.
Yeah.
And sometimes if I do get the cherry pickers, I'll say to them, it's not really, this wall isn't built for you to come in and cherry pick me. This wall is built for you to take my recommendations on whiskeys I think you would like that you would not come in and order. This wall is built for two things. It's built for whiskey people to come in and see things they've never seen before, and also newbies to be able to discover a wide range of things that I can introduce them to. So they're not stuck. As you and I both know, the secondary market, the people, bottle hunters, they're so focused on one thing that really, that's silly.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a great drink, especially if you're drinking with friends, in a wide range of products. It doesn't have to be that one thing you think you need in your collection. So, yeah. So, and even though we have this collection, I will tell you straight up, we often don't get the allocated stuff. I won't go into the process of how it's selected, but I still don't understand that. I've been here 7 years. So a lot of the things that everybody wants, I don't get one. So, but I never cry about our selection. We have enough good whiskey that I can recommend to anybody looking for a whiskey. So, yeah, so.
If a rep comes in, again, kind of going back to your barrel picks a little bit, but if they're like, oh, Mike, we got something, is there something, criteria-wise that you would judge to be like, this is good enough to be at Travel Bar, or fuck off, hit the bricks, I'm not buying this kind of?
Well, it's funny, what's happened lately is two different brands have come in with new packaging. So they'll revamp, the marketing team will get a hold of the bottles and go, we're going to repackage this. And sometimes they'll change the whiskey inside, and sometimes they won't. But I did a Greg King, who's a friend of mine, who works for Benriach in Glendronach. He came in and tasted me on the full new lineup of Benriach, and they've changed some of the product, and they've changed the cask finishes, and it was fantastic, and I will pick them up for sure. But yeah, a lot of the times, I don't get many cold calls, let's put it that way.
Okay.
Not many people walking off the street and just try to sell me a whiskey. Normally it's set up by appointment, or a friend of a friend, or what have you. So,
all right.
And I reached out to, can I say Winebow? I reached out to Winebow today, and I called the order board to say who is my rep now because of the shakeup of COVID, and it was somebody who was my rep years ago who hasn't been my rep for several years. So I just called him, and we had a long conversation about COVID and what's happening from his side and what's happening from my side, and it was very interesting. And I put a list together from a website. I said these are the things I want to taste, and so we'll move forward from there. So it's difficult for everybody. It's not just bars that had a problem. It's sales reps that had a problem and distributors that had a problem, and so we're all in this together. We should all work together to get out of it. So.
Awesome. All right. Well, this comes down to our last question tonight, which is a Whiskey Wednesday flip of the coin question. Okay. I'm going to give you a Whiskey Wednesday coin. You can flip it, you can spin it, you can do whatever you want.
All right.
But the coin gives us the answer. You don't have to answer.
I don't have to answer.
The coin gives us the answer no matter what. So.
All right. I feel like I should be putting this coin into the madam at the carnival to give me the answer, but no, you're saying I don't have to do that, so I'll take it.
Nope. All right. So, question 5. You're known for your hospitality, Are we gonna continue drinking after this?
Wow. That's the question, huh?
That's the question.
And I can't answer. I have to flip this coin.
The coin will give us the answer. So.
All right. I'm gonna flip it and let it land on the bar.
Question answered. So it says a little fuck yeah to me.
Fuck
so,
yeah.
So
Absolutely, yeah.
excellent. Well, Mike, that is 5 drinks down, 5 questions answered. Cheers to you, sir.
Cheers to you.
Guys, if you're in Manhattan, New York, whatever, come to Travel Bar. It's not that far from wherever you're staying. This is really one of my favorite places in New York City, and I've just found it. So again, come Travel Bar, Brooklyn. Mike, cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you so much. I really
Thank you.
appreciate everything.
No, I appreciate you.
And that's it.